A grisly investigation centered on a body donation business, and it's taking some new twists tonight.
Yeah, Air 15 was over this latest Valley raid, and yet another day of investigators dressed in hazmat suits removing evidence from the Biological Resource Center. And some of that evidence coming out on gurneys. It is official. Bodies are coming out of that building.
We also know body parts were removed in a similar federal raid in Detroit. That was back in December. And trust us, this story is about to be taken to another level.
And we're already hearing from all kinds of people who are wondering what's happened to their loved ones. They left the bodies in that business's hands.
ABC 15's Nohe Lanigraf just met with a woman in that very situation. And Nohe, she's waiting at this moment for her husband's ashes to be returned.
Katie and Steve, he just passed away 11 days ago. Clearly, no one is going to work here right now, so she's wondering, is his case still being processed? Is his body still in there? Has it been taken for evidence? She's also still waiting on her husband's death certificate. Without it, her life is on hold, as well as the celebration of her husband's. A Harley lover, a Vietnam Navy veteran, husband, father, grandfather. Steve leaves a legacy to be proud of.
He would have wanted to make a difference.
His wife, Julie, says he wanted to continue to help others long after he's gone. But after a long bout with cancer, she realized he couldn't donate his organs. The VA suggested science.
At least he would still be considered like donating himself. And he could still, have part of his wishes anyway.
She signed Steve over to Biological Resource Center. The only money paid, $120 for his death certificate. With the FBI raid, she's not sure when she'll get it now, which means she can't even start the process of collecting her husband's pension or life insurance.
Coming up on the end of the month, and I don't know if there's going to be any income at all coming in on his side, which, his whole plan was that I would still be taken care of.
More upsetting, her husband will also get a full military burial.
I don't know when that's going to happen. We can't even plan for it.
She also worries if the cremated remains she does get back will even be those of her beloved.
Confused and angry. We thought this was going to be doing some good. Yet it doesn't sound like it is.
Now I want to point out that Julie asked us to hide her face because she doesn't want to jeopardize getting her husband's remains or paperwork back. I also found today that Biological Resource had a provisional license for tissue bank operation based out of New York State. And I want to point out down in the corner, this is a copy. It expired in December. So Steve and Katie, I'm working right now to find out if they were even in the process of trying to renew this license.
It's a body donation and tissue bank in Phoenix, Arizona. It was raided back in 2014 in a human body parts trafficking investigation. Brianna Whitney spoke to a man whose mom and grandmother were donated to that center. We warn you, some may find this story disturbing.
This is a horror story. It's just unbelievable. This story is unbelievable.
For years, Troy Harp has been living a nightmare.
This is my mother. This is when she was a baby.
After donating his mother and grandmother to Biological Resource Center in 2012 and 2013, with the understanding their bodies would be used for scientific purposes.
Cancer and, leukemia and whatever else, using sample cells. And that's what I was told.
But that's not what happened. In 2014, the FBI raided the Phoenix facility in hazmat suits as part of a multi-state investigation into the illegal trafficking and sale of human body parts. But for the first time, we're now able to see the testimony from one of the FBI agents who conducted the raid, and what he recounts is shocking. He said he found a cooler filled with male genitalia, a bucket of heads, arms, and legs, infected heads, and one of the most disturbing findings, called a morbid joke in the lawsuit, a small woman's head sewn onto a large male torso like Frankenstein and hung up on the wall.
Who in the right mind? It's absolutely gross.
The lawsuit also says the bodies were cut up with chainsaws and bandsaws, and pools of human blood and bodily fluids were found on the floor of the freezer, with no identification tags on the bodies.
Tools that are not appropriate for dismembering scientific bodies.
Harp says his mother's ashes showed up by mail on his doorstep shortly after the raid, but he isn't even sure they're her ashes. He says his mom and grandma wanted to help medical research after their death, yet doesn't believe they ever made it out of the BRC building.
Do you feel like you've gotten any closure?
No. This is open, and I don't think I ever will.
BRC owner Stephen Gore was sentenced to 1 year of deferred jail time and 4 years probation after he pleaded guilty to illegal control of an enterprise. Harp says that's not enough, and he wants to see more federal regulation of facilities like this. The lawsuit into the center is still ongoing.